If you go to the report template, you will see that there is a section on 10-year projection of sales, expenses, and profits, where I ask you to describe your projections of sales, expenses, and profits for the next 10 years in 3 to 5 single-space pages. This section must include a table summarizing sales, all of the main expenses, etc. A suggestion on how to do this would be a table more or less like this. So let's take Sage Robinson. If you go to Yahoo Finance, which was freely available at the time of the preparation of this video. So if you go to, financials, you will get a table here where you're going to have year by year revenue, cost of revenue, gross profit. I suggest something like this, but with more details. So not only the cost of revenue, not only that item, but also sub-items outlining the different costs, sales, marketing costs, and so on, website hosting, etc. And for revenue, if you have multiple subtypes of revenue, you should list them under. You could have total revenue, but then sub-items under them, and then for each year you would have a breakdown. This is just an idea. It's up to you how you're going to be doing this. It's your decision. Remember, this is the project capstone. This is a course in which through a comprehensive project, you demonstrate that you've learned all that you've learned in the program. One important thing is, remember that I asked you that in year 10 you should have revenues of $1 billion. If we go here to statistics, you have some statistics including revenues, yearly revenues for Sage Robinson's $15 billion. So now one important thing that, and it's a mistake that I've seen students doing in the past. Let me tell you, the key mistake is that I've had students in the past saying, look, we're going to have revenues of $1 billion in year 10, but we're going to have 10 employees only. That is impossible. That would mean that you would have $100 million in revenues per employee. You need more people. One of the most successful in terms of revenues per employee that you have here is Sage Robinson Worldwide. And if you click on key statistics from Fidelity, you get several statistics, and toward the end you have revenue per employee. So it's almost $1 million per employee, and this is pretty much the most successful company in the world in this particular industry. So you should not expect to have more than $1 million in revenues per employee. Now this tends to be high for Sage Robinson because they don't own trucks. A company that owns trucks typically will have a lower number for that. So let's take JB Hunt. So you see, okay, so JB Hunt, the revenues per employee will be $322,000. So you should expect to have something in between, but don't expect to have more than $1 million in revenues per employee. And I asked you to provide information about how many people will be in the organization as you progress. So I believe it is in this section. Yeah. Key products, total customers, it's in this section here. Well, you're going to have an idea of how many employees you're going to have so that you can calculate salaries. So that's an important thing to keep in mind. Don't assume that you're going to have too much in terms of revenues per employee. Again, that part of the website, information on model logistics companies, has plenty of information here that could be useful to you. Particularly useful are these analyst reports. These are written by analysts that recommend prices for the shares of these companies. And even though you're not as interested in that for your project, it's a wealth of information that is provided by the analysts. Some of the information that are in these analyst reports, you're going to have to do some research, maybe some Googling, some research on Wikipedia, and maybe again reading introduction to finance books would also be helpful. For example, this idea of moat, right? So companies that have a moat, they are hard to compete against. Then there is interesting information here about this is for Uber. So bulls say, bears say, this is the optimistic view of Uber for the future. This is Uber, the company as a whole, and bears say this is the more pessimistic view about the company. So if you read all of these analyst reports, it's like a little book with information about companies that could be interesting for your projects. So in Wall Street parlance, bulls are optimistic, bears are pessimistic. So this concludes this demo. Thank you very much.